This probably isn't the first or the second video you're watching on the Xteink X4. This one is going to include an in-depth stock firmware tour, testing out various features this reader has to offer, a deliciously unfair comparison with the PocketBook Verse Pro, as well as the quick presentation of CrossPoint, the custom firmware available for the device. So let's just start and see what's inside the package. The first thing here is probably this is the case. Right away we can see that it's pretty rigid. It doesn't bend easily. Just like that. It's got the brand logo here. The second thing here is the screen protector. We're gonna put it on in a very short while. The third thing is, I think these are the wipes that are meant to help us apply the screen protector. We'll see that in a while. And then, there's the little box here. It's a microSD card reader. It's only USB 2.0, but for books it shouldn't really matter that much. So let's put that aside for now. Here is the main star of the evening, and let's just quickly get this out. So when it comes to the accessories, we've got the wipes, we've got the screen protector, we've got the microSD card reader, and then we've got the case. Of course, the set of accessories you'll get will depend on what you choose during the purchase. As always, I will leave the links to all of this in the description below. So let's do a little cleanup here. This can go for now, this can stay. This is what the back of the box looks like. This opens pretty much like a book, as it should. And this is the Xteink itself. And there is a little package here. This is the second screen protector. The additional one I ordered is actual tempered glass. This is just a regular plastic screen protector. So in short, the basic screen protector is already included in the set, but if you want a glass screen protector, you'll have to order that separately. Let's put that aside also. And the other things that come in this packet are the MagSafe elements, as I suspected. Here are the two magnets that can help you later on to attach this device onto pretty much any surface you want. There is a sticky surface here. You stick it onto, for example, your phone, if your phone doesn't support MagSafe by itself, if it doesn't have the magnetic ring inside by default. You can essentially use these to attach the X4 to any device you want. And it's very nice that these come in two colors. Once again, these are included in the standard package. And here is the quick start guide, available in English and Chinese. And the other side. The last thing seems to be another set of wipes, which is just meant to help you apply the default plastic screen protector. That's pretty much everything that comes inside the box. And now for the satisfying bit. Yeah. As per usual, before the screen gets dirty, I'd like to just go ahead and apply the glass screen protector first. Well, to be completely honest with you, due to some unforeseen circumstances, I had to reapply it twice. So there is a little bit of evidence here in the corners, but you can just pretend you don't see it. Alright? So now let's move on. One important note about the tempered glass screen protector is that it's reflective. Take a look at this. So just keep that in mind if you plan to apply it. The build of this device is rather simple. We've got two buttons here on the front, which are actually 4 buttons as far as I can tell. Then we've got the power button here and 2 other buttons on the right side. Then a reset button and a microSD card slot. My reader came with a 32GB card already inserted. On the bottom there's nothing but a single slot for the lanyard. The top of the device is also empty, and on the left side we can see the USB-C port. The back of the X4 looks exactly like this, and it's perfectly flat. So now let's just power this thing on and see how long it takes to boot for the first time. Well, that was extremely fast, so if we were to turn it off again, and then turn it on again, this is pretty nice. It's much better than I expected. I know that this is a much simpler device, but compared to my PocketBook Verse Pro, it boots much faster. As you can see here. So now let's explore the stock firmware interface. This is a great place to mention that you can find many custom firmware options for the X4. The most important one, and the one with the most community support, is CrossPoint. If you ordered this device from one of the official Xteink outlets, you will be able to install the custom firmware right away. If, however, you've got this from an unofficial source, there is one additional step that you have to do to be able to install custom firmware on here. So once again, these are 4 buttons here. This is the back button, select button, left and the right button. In the main menu, the buttons on the right side seem to work exactly the same as the left and right buttons here. Just a quick reminder now, this device doesn't feature a touchscreen. Many people take this as a huge advantage, as they prefer the more tactile button-based interface. And another great thing about it is that you won't face any accidental screen presses, like you could on, let's say, the PocketBook Verse Pro. If you'd be interested in an e-reader of this size but with backlight and with a touchscreen, a new version of this, the X4 Pro, was announced just a few days back. You'll find the links to both the new version and this one in the description below. Let's explore further. I can already feel that the navigation is very intuitive. Here I think if we were connected to Wi-Fi, we could send books to the X4 by just using the QR code displayed on the screen. The XT Cloud capabilities, I presume, would be available if we were using the Xteink app on our phone. Most of the settings here are related to either the network connection or the app connection. The stock firmware version the device came with seems to be the version 5.16. Let's see what kind of settings we can access here. Well, I assumed I'd get a language list of some sorts, but it changed the device language to Chinese, so let's just click select once again. And we get Japanese. Alright. Okay, so it just cycles through languages if you click select. Then we have sleep time settings. We can set it to 5 minutes, 15 minutes or never. I think 5 minutes is reasonable. The power off timer, so the time after which it will power off completely. 20 minutes, 60 minutes or never. There seems to be no option to input custom values here. Then we have the power off screen setting. You can set it to either, I believe, a custom image or a cover of a book that you're currently reading. Next, we've got the read progress bar, so it can show us either the book progress, the chapter progress, or this, or this. Next up is the power button setting, so we can either set it to long press or to short press. So I guess if we just want to quickly power down the device without holding it down, it will work right away. Then we've got show button labels. That's open or close, so I believe it's show or don't show. So this is probably about the button labels here below. So I guess once you remember what these buttons do, you can just hide the hints. End of English. These are some truncation settings, I guess. I don't really know what this setting does. Customize bottom 4 keys. Oh, so this is probably for you to be able to customize the functions of the buttons below. So we can select the left key, right key, then back, and OK or select. So I pretty much didn't change anything here. But that remapping option is good to have. Then the next thing we have on the list is swap side buttons, which I believe is the same option, but for the buttons on the right side. So the stock firmware allows you to remap both of these button sets. Next up is rotation, so I believe this will be the screen orientation setting. Let's see. Yes, I wonder if we click it once again, will it give us a landscape mode of some sort? Oh, that's more tricky now because the rows of those buttons are also reversed, as you can see. So the select would be this one. Yes. So there are just 2 vertical modes. One allows you to use the device like this, and the other one will allow you to use it like this, while simultaneously reversing the rows of those buttons on the top. So it makes sense this way. Then we've got the boot password option, so I guess we can protect our reader if you wanted to do that. And lastly, we have the clear cache option. This might be helpful if you already have some books on the device. So that's pretty much it. The stock firmware is very much simple here, but I really like how responsive it is. Considering that this runs on an ESP32 microcontroller, which isn't exactly the most powerful thing you can base an e-reader on, despite that it's not only very responsive, but it also boots fast. Another thing that we need to check is how fast you can get back to your book if the device is fully powered off. So let me just take a few minutes to get some books on here. It's taking a very long time to parse the books because I've just, for the experiment, loaded a jumbo PDF, like 200 megabytes on there, to just see how well it will handle it. And I think that when I tried to open one book, the smaller book, an EPUB rather than this large PDF, it started to parse all the books at the same time. So in summary, I think this little incident is entirely my own fault. So yeah, I'm back and I learned a few things. First of all, do not try to put very large files on here. I attempted, in my own stupidity, to load up a very large PDF file on here. Despite the fact that this device cannot really read PDF files, you'd have to convert them to EPUB to be able to read them here. It started automatically parsing the PDF once I tried to open another book, and the parsing was so painfully slow that I had to reset the device by holding down the power button and the small reset button here, and then remove the large PDF from the microSD to be able to do anything else. So that's that. To continue on, I have a few example books here. The other thing I noticed is that the stock firmware can easily handle folders, so you can organize your books in that way. So yeah, here we have a few example books. Opening books here is very fast. Take a look at this. And that's it. Now we can try that with a book that hasn't been opened yet. And it's also very fast. When it comes to switching pages, it looks like this. It's pretty much instantaneous. When it comes to the reading settings, we have a few options here. We have an option to automatically flip pages. We have an option to use, I presume, Bluetooth page changers. Then we can switch between different chapters of the book. So we have a list and then we can select a chapter from this list. There is an option to change fonts here. We have just a few options available. And then of course we can go to a page that we choose. Let's try that with page 10. And I think we're on the page 10 now. Then there is the dark mode. And it will affect the whole reader. For now, let's turn that off. Then we have the index menu. The direction menu, which I think is the screen orientation menu. We can switch to landscape mode just like this. I think I'd actually prefer reading like this. And another thing here is that while the interface is responsive, it isn't like blazing fast. So if I just go like this, you see that the chipset cannot really keep up with my inputs. So fast inputs like this just won't get registered. You can also read like this. Those buttons are now reversed. So if we want to come back, we can do it from this menu. And that's the option we want. Ta-da! There are also bookmark options here. Hold OK to add bookmark, so let's try that. Say I wanted to add a bookmark here, and it's added. Then we can go to the bookmark menu. We can select the bookmark and then I guess delete it or go straight to it. Then the last option here is spacing. So we have a few options here. These are pretty much all the options we have while reading a book on the stock firmware. Let's try another one. And overall it works really well. And you can also use these buttons to switch pages. So up and down, forwards and backwards. And now one of the most important tests, how fast you can come back to reading a book if you fully power the device down. So let's try to get back to our book. In my eyes, this is almost instant. Let's try that again. And then let's get back. Yeah, and it's fully interactive right away. So again, that's pretty impressive considering what's inside of this. The last book you had open will display in here. If you turn the device off while not in the reading mode, it will just come back to the main menu. Like this. Now let's just take a closer look at the display. This is, I think, the closest I can get so you can see it actually in focus. Once again, it doesn't have any backlight built in, so all the light you can see here comes from my studio lights. Overall, I think this is very impressive for the price. Just to have something to compare it to, while this won't be a fair comparison at all, here is the PocketBook Verse Pro. So yeah, this is a much more expensive device, a device that has both a touchscreen and a backlight built in. As you can see here, with regulated screen temperature. Like so. So to be able to compare anything here really, let's just turn off the backlight, put those devices side by side, and then once again look at them from up close. The PocketBook Verse Pro on the left has of course much higher resolution than the X4. You can clearly see the difference in resolutions on these close-up shots. Here is the Verse Pro, and here is our X4. What's surprising to me, however, is that the X4 wins in terms of the image contrast. With both devices side by side, you can see how the X4 has much better contrast than the Verse, even though its display resolution is much lower. That's pretty much how it is. You can see that while we were comparing the two devices, the X4 has already entered the sleep mode. If we want to continue reading, we can simply wake it up pressing the power button. And we're back in business. All in all, while those devices are from very different price ranges, I much prefer the display on the X4, perhaps just because of the higher contrast. The next thing I want to do here is of course quickly install CrossPoint to be able to compare it with the stock firmware. Give me a second and I'll do just that. And so after following the instructions on the CrossPoint website, we've got it ready in just about 5 minutes. It's a very simple and user-friendly process that takes about 3 to 4 clicks total. As we can see, the CrossPoint interface is based on the same set of controls, but it's much more reserved. Of course, when flashing CrossPoint, you won't lose any of your books, as your books are stored on the microSD here. The speed of the interface seems to be about the same as on the original stock OS. Let's just try getting into one of those books. And here we've got it. It works in a very similar way to the stock firmware. Here we can, just as before, get back to our previous book, and then we can access options. The chapter select menu seems to be a little more user-friendly here, and we also have the bookmark options here, and the usual reading orientation settings. There is also auto turn like in the original, but we also have some additional options like the ability to take screenshots or to show pages as QR codes to share them. The ability to go to a certain part of the book like this is also pretty cool. I wonder how long it will take to skip, let's say, to this point. Reasonably fast, I'd say. We have some file transfer options here. Of course, we can connect to Wi-Fi, then connect the reader to our Calibre library, or even create a hotspot. Going into all of this would require a separate video, but you can roughly see what you can do with CrossPoint installed on your X4. There's even a co-reader sync option here. Unfortunately, just as before, the reader isn't able to see any PDF files that are on the microSD. So that's really it. This is a pretty powerful device, even more so with CrossPoint installed on it, and I think I'll be rather happy to use it alongside my main PocketBook Verse Pro, mainly because of its pocketability factor. I mean, this thing can easily fit in my pocket, and with the screen protector installed, I won't be worrying about it getting scratched or anything. It seems to be reasonably resilient to survive in an empty pocket. So yeah, while this definitely won't be the main choice for many of you as your main ebook reader, this is a very nice device if you just care about quick reading sessions on the go. After I spend some more time with it, I'll be able to give you a proper review. Until then, stay tuned and thank you for watching. Bye!